Welcome to the Great Lakes Outdoors Podcast. Before we start, we would like to thank some of our sponsors. GK Calls, Migra Ammunition, Gibraltar Duck Hunters Association, Pointe Mouillee Waterfowl Festival, Gator Decoys, Firebolt Game Calls, and Flipping Bird Apparel.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Great Lakes Outdoors podcast. Me and Chris are sitting here. Chris, what's going on?
What's up?
We're sitting here with Nate from Nate's Game Calls. Nate, I appreciate you driving 3 hours to come down here, man. I'm still kind of blown away by that.
Hey, no problem.
And your pregnant wife.
Man.
And your pregnant wife, man. That's crazy.
Hey, I get to spend the day with my wife on a little road trip, so it's all good.
Make a day out of it. That's a good point. Yeah. Especially what you went to Great Lakes Crossing, you said, right?
Yep.
So that's good.
Yep, had to go to Brass Pro Shop, and
I got to make a trip over there too. I'm talking about buying that 410. I don't know, for turkey season.
Yeah.
So I think this week I'm going to pull the trigger and finally do it. I was talking about it last year, and I think this year is the year I'm finally going to.
They're so cheap.
They're so cheap, and like I was talking to a guy. He's a big photographer for Migra. He took a picture of a Rossi, it's called, and I seen it, and I was like, oh man, it looks real sharp.
Yeah.
Get the thumb hole stock on it and everything, and I was like, man, that's might be the one. And then he's like, if you need to sell it down the road, you probably sell it for the same price. You're not really losing nothing for it. So I don't know. But Nate, where are you from? What you do? Obviously the calls and stuff, but you want to just tell everybody that hasn't heard of you, who you are in the company?
Yep, I'm Nate McDowell. I'm from up in St. Helen. Drive truck during the day and make calls during the afternoon.
How long have you been making calls for?
Last spring.
Last spring. So it's what made you want to start the calls?
Just decided, hell, I'll just try doing something. I've done woodworking with my dad since I was a little kid, so it's kind of, something to keep my hands busy, something to keep my mind busy, and just
have fun with it.
Make something cool. And I'm like, well, I'll get a lathe off Amazon, try it out. If I like it, I'll get a better lathe. And,
just
the
keep
lathe
growing.
Caught on fire the first time I used it. So
Nice.
I went on
Nice.
Marketplace the next day, bought an old Craftsman, like late 50s Craftsman lathe, and just kind of been going at it ever since.
So do you only do wood calls then for now?
I've been dabbling with the acrylics.
Okay.
A little bit of resin pours, just doing different cool things like, the wood resin mixes. And
that's pretty cool though.
So.
That kind of whole lathe stuff kind of interests me. It's tough, I feel, because Firebolt Game Calls, we were just talking about him. He started getting into the ducks. He does the turkey pot calls and the mouth calls and stuff. But keeping it all kind of the same almost for like every call.
Consistency, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that might be just the hardest thing when I don't want to say just starting off, but like trying to figure out the whole call, because there's so many different details that go into the barrel of it, or whatever it is. There's a lot that goes into it that people don't realize.
And you do all that by hand, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's insane.
Every call coming now is just CNC, I believe. So with the hand stuff, obviously that's super cool.
Oh yeah, I'd love to have a CNC for doing the acrylic, because the acrylic is an absolute mess.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'm sure certain woods are the same way too.
Oh yeah, some woods, it's like no matter what you do, you're dulling tools.
Right. With how hard the wood is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I turned out some out of black and white ebony. This is before I got my carbide tip tools.
Okay.
Just
how dense it is.
It's dense. It's hard. It turns out beautifully. It doesn't like to chip out or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a pain in the butt.
Yeah, you're sharpening tools after every call you make out of that, it seems, at least with my old tools. Now that I got the carbides, it's no big deal.
Eating through them.
Yeah.
So
that's now. How big is your wood pile at home? I'm sure you got a ton of wood at the house for making calls and.
Really not that big, honestly.
No.
I got some stuff I keep in the shed. You got a local place I usually get a lot of wood from, in Gladwin.
Oh, okay.
So get some stuff from them. Just kind of when they get shipments of stuff in, that or place up in the UP that I order it from.
Are you getting any like exotic woods? Because I know that's kind of a big thing with call companies, like just getting some crazy woods overseas or whatever it may be. Are you in like going into? Are you in that deep already with it all? I guess is the best way to put it.
Yep. I mean, I got a couple of calls here. Multicolor cocobolo.
That's sweet.
So, and
so I don't know nothing about wood. Just letting you know.
It looks cool.
So. It does look cool. That's all that matters to me is if it looks cool.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a hard thing too with wood calls over time, like the swelling of them or like the temperature, even with the calls, or if people don't maintain wood calls.
Yeah. So doing this, it was actually the whole point of how I went about doing it was doing the Louisiana occasion style calls. So leaves you with an adjustable tone board.
Mm-hmm.
And it also using what's called a gut cert with the O-rings.
Okay.
You know, that's Delrin tone board and the gut cert. So you're not going to have the insert getting swollen and stuck into the barrel. Right. So that's where a lot of them break, is trying to get them separated, to clean them out. That and the gut cert actually helps hold that insert together. Like this Bacote one, it had a crack in the wood to begin with. Mm-hmm. So I actually brought this one on purpose. It's got a crack in it, but it's not going to come apart. So even if you
I see it right there.
Have the wood crack between the band on there, that's actually why duck calls have band, is the old wood calls, they'd swell and split.
Really?
So they put the bands on there to keep that from happening.
Interesting.
But yeah, the gut cert, that's epoxied in there. It keeps it together. So, I mean, you get a usable call with still having the wood call look, but not with the wood call problems.
Right. Now, are they your own inserts?
These I have CNC'd out of Delrin.
Okay. So you made those up, like you found one that worked, I guess?
I found one that works, and I kind of go through it and make sure everything's tuned right. If I got to shave it down, I shave it down.
Right.
So I'm working on some right now that'll be... It's an upswept style tone board. It'll be a single read. So once I get those finalized, I'll make sure I post them up. And
Interesting.
That's cool. Have you noticed a difference with that crack when you're calling on it, though? No?
Not at all.
Not at all? That's crazy.
So,
that's cool.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other one I made out of Bacote, I mean, they both sounded the same. Crack, no crack, it didn't seem to affect it at all.
It just adds more like character almost to the call, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like that. Go ahead.
It's and other woods like the lace wood, it really wanted to chip out because it was just the wood's so dry, and it's like cocobolo. A lot of reason why it's so popular is the oil content. That, and they say the cocobolo calls make the most realistic sounding wood duck calls.
So now if you're buying a wood call, which I have one that's acrylic and half wood. I think the acrylic is just the barrel part and the wood's the top part.
Yep.
Do you have to maintain or like add any certain,
oils
or anything to that call to make sure it's not going to over time swell up or treat it, I guess is the best way?
Like all my calls are dipped in call coat, it's called.
Okay.
So I stayed away from the CA glue finish that a lot of call makers make. I mean, really pretty calls, they come out just glass smooth and pretty. But it'll, like if you drop your call or your dog jumps up on you, it happens.
Right.
It likes to splinter.
Okay.
The CA glue will actually like spider web crack.
Ooh, okay. So almost just acrylic, like a garage floor finish almost.
Yeah.
I got what you're saying.
So, and
adds the durability to the call.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, because when I first grabbed this one here, this one I noticed the coats on it, and not a lot. I mean, you're right. Not a lot of whole call companies do that, I guess. So that separates yourself, obviously, which is a good thing.
It almost adds a warranty to the call.
Right. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
It's a way to protect it. Like this one here, there's a couple little dents in it. My dog got a little excited and grabbed a hold of it, and it's got a couple little tooth marks. But that hasn't affected it through the season. So
now you said you got a Chessie. Is that going to be your bird dog, future bird dog? Chessie / lab, right?
Yep.
Okay. Is that going to be your future bird dog, or
he already is?
How old is he? Oh, a year, right?
Year old.
You took him out this year?
Yep. He started off his season at 8 months old, and he actually just surprised me on how well with what he learned. I mean, taking him out for his first weekend hunting, he's seen one bird, and ever since then,
just hooked.
Like he locks on birds that I can't even see.
There's a lot of times I'll be sitting in the A-frame or something, and I'll just stare at, especially Ellie. I don't really sit next to Rip all the time. He's on the other side with Sid, but I'll sit next to Ellie and just watch her. Or if I don't know where the birds are in the A-frame or the blind or whatever, I'll see her, spinning her head around or whatever it may be, and they pick them out before you can even see them.
It's crazy.
Oh yeah,
having a dog out there is awesome, especially a young pup, to have all like the connections start clicking for them, like having them start understanding what they're out there for. They're obviously a kid basically to you, but a tool. When they get out there, and it's a satisfying feeling to have that with a pup. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's funny because when we went down to look at the litter and pick out a pup, I had second pick for a male, and he ended up being the second of only 2 males out of the litter.
Oh wow!
So,
wow.
We were looking down there. It's like, well, if you don't show the qualities I'm looking for, I'm all right with getting a female.
Right.
I really prefer to have a male. I grew up with male dogs, especially when I was a little kid and started going with my dad. The Chessie he had was just a hunting machine. He was 120
They don't have
pounds.
any stops, man.
Oh, yeah.
Chessies are just so hard-headed. But not to cut you off, I've heard that Chessies only listen to like one person.
That's what I've heard too.
And if you're not that one person, they don't care who you are. Yeah. They're just doing their own thing. Okay, she's over there shaking her head. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, he pushes my wife's buttons a lot, I think on purpose.
I can imagine that. I can imagine. That's just Chessies, what it feels like, man.
That first Chessie, he would listen to anybody. Second one was pretty well the same way. We actually had the offspring of that first Chessie.
Okay.
But Goose, it seems like the guys I've hunted with, he pretty well listens to them pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
But
as well, though?
Not as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if he's bringing in a bird, he's bringing it straight to me. He don't care what anybody else is saying. He knows, bring it back to Dad. Right. So
I kind of feel like that's Ellie almost in a sense, but she's purebred, like English Black Lab. She doesn't care what anybody else says out there in the field, but like she listens to me more, I should say, and I could see that from her. Like she just doesn't care what this person over there. You could yell at her for anything. Stop. Whatever.
She's gonna listen to you.
She's listening to me, and it's kind of a nice thing to have out there in a sense. You know what I mean? You kind of feel good. You're like, yeah, that's my dog. Shut up and stop talking about him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's awesome. What you grew up hunting, duck hunting? Up north, obviously. Up north for us. Home for you guys.
Yep. Growing up, we were duck hunting. Then after our first Chessie died, my dad just kind of got out of waterfowl hunting for a while. And
tough.
Life and work gets in the way. Then I told my dad, I'm like, let's get back into it. And that's led to me getting to the point where it's like, okay, it's time for me to get another dog and
get at it.
I feel like, obviously there was days where it would have been such a pain in the butt for a dog in the fields for us this year. Like, how muddy whatever it was or how cold it was out there. But the dogs really make up a lot of the hunting, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
Just having that dog out there and going to retrieve, and Brian, like he does a bunch of photography for us, and then he works for Tango Free. He brought his dog out this year for the first time in the field. So like those kind of moments,
that was awesome. That made the whole hunt.
That was your birthday
it really
hunt.
Did, yeah. Oh yeah.
And you got the band, right?
No.
Oh, you didn't get the band that time. The time before that, you got the band.
Yeah.
I did that on purpose, so on his birthday he wasn't going to be too over the moon about it. I don't even think nobody knew it was your birthday until after the hunt was done.
I didn't tell anyone. I was like, no.
We're like, oh, it's your birthday, dude? And then they're walking away. I think Brandon got that band.
Yeah,
it was
Brandon,
a 14-year-old goose band from Canada. I don't think I've ever seen a band that old.
It was old.
Brandon was scared to open up the band on it, just how thin it was on the inside.
I remember listening to that on that podcast.
Yeah, it was nuts. It was nuts. Super cool. I don't know. I like those kind of old bands. You shoot a band like around your area or whatever. Yeah, it's cool. You got a band, but let me get those far bands and they have a story behind them.
Yeah, that was the one that had the snow clumped up around it, right?
Yeah. We didn't even know anything about it.
You're picking up birds,
piling the birds up for the pitcher, and I was like, that's kind of weird. That snow is not getting off of that goose's leg. So I grabbed the snow and I felt it under my hand. I didn't tell anybody about it. It was pretty cool.
That was cool. That was a good hunt.
Yeah,
really good hunt.
The farmer's out there in the field tilling up the field back and forth while we're shooting birds. He's sending me videos of us smacking birds down out of the cab of the tractor. It was fun. It was fun. Do you do a lot of just water hunts, or do you field hunt at all up there?
I haven't done any field hunts in a while.
Okay.
My buddy was supposed to get in touch with all the places he used to field hunt before.
Mm-hmm.
He just
It's
never
tough.
made it over there to talk to him. You know,
It's
he talks
tough.
to a lot of old timers that refuse to use a phone at all.
You got to send a messenger pigeon over there or something.
Yeah. But next year I'm going to try and get out in more fields, and especially early goose season.
It's just nice because I could probably count on one hand how many times we heard other shots going off around us this year. So being able to kind of pressure those birds as much as we want, not worried about, racing to the hole. And obviously that's a whole different challenge inside of it, because I like to think that it's a game within the game with the waterfowl hunting. You got the X, but can you get the birds in there? It's like I said, the game.
Work the way you want them to work.
Yeah, so.
That, and it seems sometimes day to day where they want to be changes.
Oh,
right,
yeah,
right,
100%.
Yeah. It's just one of those things where I was listening to a podcast. It was either yesterday or Friday at work, and there was somebody saying like, "Oh yeah, anybody go out to the fields, and if you're able to get on fields, you kill a lot more birds." And it's like, well, not necessarily, because there's a lot more that goes into it.
Yeah.
It's not. Yeah, I mean, you might be able to shoot a lot of divers out in the lake or whatever it may be, but there's a lot that goes into all sorts of hunting. It's just, I think it's almost funny that people think it's that easy. You just jump in a field and you're good to go.
Definitely not. I mean, how many hours do you put in a week?
Well, the sun goes down at
5:30,
and I'm on the road by 3:30 most of the day after work, just running up and down. And it's 45 minutes just to get out to where we're hunting at.
Yeah.
So it takes a while for us. But are you hunting a lot on the lake that you live by? I don't know if you wanted me to say it or not, but are you living out? Are you hunting a lot on that lake?
I'm not hunting Lake St. Helen. So Lake St. Helen's a whole thing in itself. It's actually since, late 1800s, they've had the St. Helen Duck Club has had exclusive hunting rights for Lake St. Helen.
Really?
Yep. And it goes back to, I guess that used to be a marsh. And the club owned that, and then the state wanted to come in and flood it and make it a recreation lake. That was the deal, was they get exclusive hunting rights. And
wow.
Yeah, I just found out it's like $50,000 for a membership.
Oh, wow.
And you're not a member? Yeah, don't blame me on that one. What about that other lake, though? Is the one I was talking about that you teamed up with?
Houghton Lake there.
I don't know. Like I said, I didn't know if you wanted me to say it or not. So
No problem. Houghton Lake, I mean, if you know where to go over there, or if you go out in the middle and you lay out blind, hunt it, there is a ton of divers every year out there.
Okay.
I mean, just a huge raft of divers.
I don't even know if I've ever even been out there, to be honest with you. I know there's a ton of people out opening weekend up there.
I've heard that, yeah.
Because that's where like Ryan and Justin and all those guys go, actually.
There's a couple guys with pontoon blinds that go out there.
Really?
Yeah. So I think
they just keep them out all year.
Yep, anchor them out there and just ride a boat out there to them and get dropped off. And
no, that's kind of crazy because anybody could use that blind.
Yeah.
Unless they're
So
there
first.
that day,
You have to be
right?
there first.
Now, is that the same way with deer hunt? Because I know deer hunt, like you can't jump into you could jump into somebody else's tree stand, but if they come up to that tree stand, you have to get down if it's marked.
If it's marked, yes.
So is that the same way with duck blinds out on the water?
I assume so. Yeah, I think so.
Okay, that's just strange to me.
It's usually like a common courtesy thing. If you're out there and that guy comes, common courtesy.
I think it was a law for deer hunting. No, I think I could be wrong.
It might be.
See, this is why sometimes I'm glad you're on this one, but having you as Jamie for us is always nice too. Cause
I can look it up.
Yeah, Chris is always in the back, not always in the back, but like in the back where he's looking up information or like giving me notes that I'm forgetting. So like I'm waiting for the thing over here, and he's not over there, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know how that works.
Yeah, I think if it's marked, it's kind of stay out of it.
Okay.
So, I mean, most people don't over there. They don't mess with them. So,
I feel like maybe that's, and I'm not up there, obviously. I almost feel like that's a spot where it gets real chaotic during hunting, like the opening weekend, maybe the first 2 weeks,
and
maybe.
dies off.
Is that pretty accurate, or?
Yeah, it gets pretty chaotic. I'm surprised, even like Mouillee Lake. I've hunted that a lot.
Never heard of that one.
Over by South Higgins State Park there.
Okay.
So a little lake, Mouillee Lake, it's trolling motors or paddles only. Just a warning to everybody, if you decide to go hunt that lake, I wouldn't advise trying to wade it because there's only certain spots you can really wade out there, or else you're sinking to China.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I'm going to assume that there's a lot of trees around that lake. A
lot of trees, and it's really silty.
That's what. There's a lake out in Mayo that we hunt for the opener. It's not in Mayo. It's, I'll say, from that area. I'm not even going to say Pointe to Pointe or anything, but that area, because it's nice. Because we are the only ones that ever go out there to hunt it, so it's nice. But you get out, 15, 20 yards, and you're sinking up to your chest. But I think that's where all the forest fires were as well. So all the soot and the leaves and all that stuff on the bottom, it's tough.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of little lakes, hidden little gems up by you guys that I feel like a lot of people don't like take that extra step to go find out how the hunting actually is. I mean, out in the middle of nowhere too on the state land.
Yeah, me and my buddy and my nephew went to a spot that another buddy of mine told me about. He's like, it's always loaded with ducks. It's always loaded with ducks.
He told you to go there?
Yeah.
Okay. That's a whole thing too with waterfowl.
It is.
This is a guy I've hunted with, so we get along just fine.
Okay.
Yeah, you trust him enough.
I've showed him my spots. He showed me his spots. So it's I was kind of the one that really got him into duck hunting. So we go out there. We saw nothing but sandhill cranes, and we went probably a good 2 miles down a 2-track that we had no business going down, and I thought I was going to have to pull my buddy out of a couple of the spots.
Just
his truck was about stuck.
Oh, really?
Oh,
man.
So he was about high centered in a couple spots, and his truck's lifted. Mine's not. I don't know how he had a problem.
Man.
I didn't, but
man, that's tough in itself.
All those Chevy guys out there, he was driving a lifted Chevy.
There this year it seemed like there was a lot of sandhills during the opening weekend.
I didn't see any late this year.
Well, down by us we don't really get a ton, which is weird because you kind of just straight north of us, really, right? You take 75 all the way down.
Yep.
So, but we don't get half of the sandhills you guys get. It seems like they more like center of the state fly down that way, 127 area for whatever reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, you go an hour west of here, you see a shit ton.
Right. It's weird.
Yeah, driving back and forth from work, I see a ton of them in the fields.
That's strange.
It's like it's group of geese, group of sandhills, group of geese, group of sandhills.
Now, kind of going back to your buddy telling you about a spot, it kind of just opens up a debate in itself.
I think he was trying to mess with me.
Well, yeah, he's sending that guy's not going to see a bird out there in that body of water.
He's like, I'm going to send him out there. I'm going to hunt his spot.
But for the public hunter to go out to a spot, let's say your buddy takes you out to a spot. Who'd you say you went out there with? Your nephew, you said?
Yeah, buddy of mine and my nephew. So
say you guys banged them up, and you go back out there, and your buddy's already out there, beat you to the spot.
Oh, I'm sitting with him.
But let's say you're not, like, he's already got a full whatever, right? Like he's already sit there. He's got 8 guys with him, and you're like, dude, what the heck? I kind of showed you this spot. In a way, I feel like a lot of people just kind of jump spots instead of like, hey, do you mind if I go over there and hunt that? Like, out of the courtesy of it all. Yeah. I know it's state land, but the courtesy you're showing them, you showed me the spot. I'm going to stay kind of,
if you're buddies,
out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to hunt with a non-buddy, I guess, to show them that spot. Yeah. But I don't know. It's a big debate, I feel like, on the public land. Yeah,
I think so. It can cause a lot of drama.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, if I show a buddy a spot and, all of a sudden he's there with a group of people I don't even know, it's like, dude.
Just backdoor me big time.
Yeah.
Right. It's just, I don't know.
It sucks.
I would at least be asking somebody like, hey, you mind if I go over there and hunt that, or is it kind of your spot? I know it's not your spot, but I mean, do you care if I go over
courtesy,
there?
I would say.
I mean, it's state land. It's like, it sucks, but we'll go to, we'll try and go to a different spot, kind of same area. We're already out there ready to go, especially, when we got to drag kayaks and a jet sled like 300 yards to that one spot. Man. I mean, that was after we drove about 2 miles in the woods.
That's the one thing that sucks up there, is just walking. This year you'll go with us or do you have plans for opening weekend for the middle zone? Do you do anything?
No. I go to the upper one, but
okay, so in September, right? Yeah. So the following weekend you'll have to go with us this year. We take our whole group up there, and we go to our spot in West Branch, camp out, and we'll goose hunt with our buddy Corey and Trent up there a day or two, and then we'll go to those private or public lakes to hunt. And we usually scratch off a couple wood ducks, mallards. I mean, we shot bluebills there and stuff, and I don't know, just to get out there wise, it's pretty fun. But
man, what is it with the black ducks this year or last season?
What do you mean?
I seen just a ton of them in random places.
Really?
Yeah.
Tell me more, because this is the first time I've heard about like a big number of them. Because I don't know if we
didn't see a whole lot. I mean, we seen when Alex and I went out on the lake, we seen quite a few, but not a lot.
I feel like there's like always years that there's more of a certain, the hatch is better off, like, but it almost goes into like a big cycle where like the pintails are a lot that year, or like the gadwall the next year, and the black ducks for whatever reason, and maybe I'm just seeing more in that little area. I don't know, but it's I don't know. We didn't really even see a lot of black ducks in the field, but we didn't even get a lot of ducks out in the fields this year either.
I've been seeing them like in the rivers, like Cut River. We kept seeing this group of 3.
Really.
And
yeah, I don't know. That's the first time I've really heard about the black ducks really, like, all over, I guess. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like a good number of them, I should say.
You shoot any this year?
I didn't shoot any black ducks this year. Shot some last year. It seems like over the past 3 years I've been seeing more.
That's good to hear. Because was I with you? I was talking to somebody about the duck numbers not that long ago. I want to say I was with you or something. I don't know. I was with somebody. I was talking to somebody. Probably DU was brought up into it, and that's a whole other conversation I'd like to have too. Maybe it was Chris Brent from the photographer from Migra. Maybe I was talking to him the other night at work. And well, I'm gonna start with the DU because I just kind of lost my train of thought. What was I just talking about?
Are we talking about DU or are we talking about
what I was
duck
bringing
numbers?
Up? Oh, the duck numbers. The duck numbers.
Yeah.
A lot of the mallards seem like they have the DNA of the farm ducks in them.
Yes.
And that's why the numbers are going downhill. It's just kind of bizarre to me. And that kind of why I got brought up to DU, because NWTF is the same way. I started hearing it recently, I should say, that DU's raised all this money over the years, or every year they raise
$2.2 billion over 10 years, and the duck population has gone down 40% in 10 years,
which is insane to me.
That is insane.
Well, remember it's was it last season? My buddy listened to a something about more and more of the game farm mallards making their way
Right,
from the East
right.
Coast in, and we ended up with quite a few.
Like the farm mallards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
We're like, why these mallards don't have any fat on them? Why are their wings seem shorter, and why do they seem fatter even though they don't have the fat on them?
They're almost like the size of a goose, like a little goose. How big those farm mallards are, and the problem is too. I think the parks that all these people are dropping them off the farm ducks.
They just ducks see ducks there, and they go there, and
we got a local park here.
Yeah.
A couple local parks that there'll be 300-400 mallards there year round. Which obviously some of them might not even be able to fly, but with all the feeding going on at the parks, they don't need to go anywhere else.
Right.
You don't need to.
And from my understanding, those game farm mallards, they can't reproduce in the wild, so they're taking up resource from the, natural born wild mallards and taking up that resource, and they're not reproducing. That
I don't know. That's the first time I heard that one. Not saying it's wrong by any means, but I don't know. It's kind of one of those things where how are we going to help get the numbers back?
Yeah.
Because obviously they're not doing a whole lot with, feeding birds and stuff. And all the guys down south are going to say the hot ponds and, the bread feeders or whatever it is. Yeah. I don't know. It's kind of a bizarre thing with, the money from DU though, and the farm ducks, and nobody's doing a thing about it, I guess.
What can be changed about it to increase the population, whether it's predator management or, what's going wrong? There's something going wrong. What is it?
Yeah. And that was same thing with NWTF. Like the show was last weekend or the weekend before, I think it was. They're saying all NWTF has got all this money that they're raising as well, and they're not really seeing a bunch of. I mean, personally, for me, I've never seen like an NWTF project where I'm at.
No, not around here.
Have you seen any of that? Like any NWTF projects that for the turkeys?
I've seen one where it's I'll see signs.
Okay. Up by you?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good then. I just have never seen nothing like that around here.
Yeah, I don't really see many.
I just wonder what the money's going towards, I guess.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just because my understanding was a lot of volunteers helping out, giving back and stuff like that, which obviously you're only going to be able to have so many volunteers. But I mean, we're talking $2 billion.
Yeah. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Where's it going? What's it going to?
I don't know.
I'm sure there's some way you could track it on their website, but is that true?
Accurate? I don't know.
Yeah.
Who just had that too? Like, was it Red Cross or something like that had that?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
That they kind of got busted with like fraud or something like that. Something.
Yeah. It was a nonprofit. I think I know that for sure.
Yeah.
Well, how it's on the internet, it must be true, right?
100%. 100%. The problem is though, it makes like the Gibraltar Duck Hunters Association or the Pointe Mouillee, like those guys look bad. Like, why donate to these guys, these small little guys?
Yeah.
Because the big guys are doing it, so you don't think the small guys are doing it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it gets tough in that aspect of it all.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
And we're trying to do the right thing, obviously, around. And you said you're teamed up north, right?
Yep.
Do you want to kind of talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So working with the Houghton Lake Tourism Bureau.
Mm-hmm.
So what the program's going to be is you shoot a banded duck in Roscommon County. It was banded in Roscommon County, and bring it over to Lyman's on the Lake in Houghton Lake there, and you get a duck call
from you.
Yep,
that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
So
what about a goose? You guys band many geese up there?
I've had buddies shoot some banded geese around the area. But I haven't really seen many. I've seen guys, meet them at the boat launch after, the morning hunt, and they just got geese piled up, and not really seeing much for bands.
Okay. I don't know if there was a call that you got for like a Roscommon goose band or anything like that.
It's any band though that was banded.
I think they're going to do goose bands too.
Okay.
Okay.
I know they were talking mostly about ducks. So
Okay.
They might be doing the geese too. So
that's really cool. You do a lot of giving back.
I try to, especially like kids. I mean, that's the future of our hunting.
Yeah,
100%.
That's what's going to keep it going.
Yeah, you gave to Pointe Mouillee. You gave to GDHA. What else do you give back to?
Like I've trying, like, if we have events like DU Banquet last December, we had some for the introduction program with Houghton Lake Tourism Bureau. We ended up giving 4 calls away.
That's sweet.
So
all proceeds going to them, obviously, I'm assuming. Like all the money that is getting raised by that.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty much it's to kind of go back to bring more people into the community, and it's honestly gonna help the local economy. More people that come in.
Yeah, get some growth in there.
Use the lake and that. I mean, that's helping out local economy.
Right. I mean, stuff like that, though, I guess, people like to hear that compared to kind of going back to what we were just saying, like, why give back to these guys if, DU, I don't even know where my money's going. They like to see progress in it all.
Right. We need more people like that.
And obviously giving back is huge for the kids and stuff. I mean, that's awesome.
That's the next generation, yeah.
Do you get a lot of people asking you on Facebook? Because you need to get an Instagram started, one. You need to get that started. But two, you get a lot of people like asking for like pro staff and stuff.
No.
Because I know a lot of people are like super just quick with it all.
Yeah.
To ask for free stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it's been slow going so far. I've shipped one call, probably would have been the first call I sold. It actually went up to Sault Ste. Marie area.
Oh, nice.
Got shipped up there. I've shipped a couple downstate. People have bought online.
That's awesome, man.
So, and then actually how I found out about Pointe Mouillee was I did a gun and knife show in Houghton Lake. And an old timer there, he goes, "You need to go down to Pointe Mouillee, get a booth, go to the festival." So, well, I did.
That's awesome, man.
So,
are you going to Bay City this year then too?
I'm thinking about it.
Okay.
Not quite sure how it's going to go. And I got son's doing
I was
May,
going to say you got baby on the way. And
so it's going to be crazy hectic for a while, but I'll make it work.
Well, hopefully at least Pointe Mouillee.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully at least that. I don't know. We always talk about it on here too, like the growth at Pointe Mouillee is, where it was 3-4 years ago compared to what it is now, and the changes that it's going to be even this upcoming year. It's always nice to see that growth and having you coming back and stuff. It's always nice. Do you make a goose call?
I'm working on it.
Okay.
Actually, the first goose flute I made a Cocobolo goose flute. I ended up giving that to my dad for Christmas.
Oh, that's cool.
So
that's cool. That's really cool. I can't blow a flute with.
Oh, they're sweet. I love flutes.
Ever since I tried a short reed, I suck at blowing a flute.
Yeah, it's weird. It's just a different force, like the force of air that's going into it. You just can't. I don't know. I can't figure it out.
Rick's pretty good at it.
Is he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to tune that goose flute, and I'm like, what am I doing wrong?
Right.
And I just had to relearn how to blow a goose flute.
Yeah.
Right. It's weird, man. I've only tried once. I know Brandon has one, but Brandon, Paul, Hinman, and Stahl, when he came up, I think he was blowing a flute possibly, but Paul blows one once in a while. Those are the only 3 that I really know around, or that hunt with us that can blow one that's decent at it, or I mean, Sean Stahl, obviously he's going to be damn good at it, but
I'm actually using I have an Olt 800 goose call. My grandfather had it. He gave me a bunch of stuff when I was a teenager, just a whole bunch of old nitro steel shells and Federal shells, whatever he had.
Right.
And up there, and it had like a wasp nest in it. So, yeah, I cleaned this call up, and once I got the lathe and all that, I decided, well, why don't I just, refinish it and kind of bring it back to
life.
And I mean, the finish was all just like cracking and flaking off of it. I'm like, well, I'll refinish it and put it to good use.
Right. That's awesome.
Have you ever had like anyone ask you to refinish a call that they've have?
No, I'd be happy to try and bring some old calls back to life.
I'm sure there's a lot of people who want a old call that like maybe their grandpa had or something like that would want that done.
I think that'd be the good thing, even with Facebook and stuff, or obviously, but Instagram too. Getting that word out there so people do know about that. Maybe you have, maybe you haven't. I don't know, but getting that out there for people to know, like, hey, I can do this for you guys or whatever it may be. I don't know.
Yeah,
it'd be good.
I don't know anyone who does that, so that would be huge.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm sure there's a pretty decent market for it too. I
would assume so. I mean, there's some calls that, I mean, I'm sure everybody's got kind of an older call that wants to get kind of finished up or touched up at least.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's pretty cool.
Do you, like with your calls, have you got a lot of like feedback back with like, I don't know, this broke, or like, do you give like the gut system out to them if they lose that, or like a barrel, or because I know some calls, like if it cracks or something, you'll send them a new barrel or insert.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a
problem with it,
you got a problem with it, I'll try and help you best I can. You got a barrel that splits, because wood's always going to be unpredictable,
right?
Yeah.
Moisture, like I've tried calls on my lanyard. I've tried to not be easy at all on them. Right. I mean, they got nicks and marks and dents, but they've held together. But yeah, you got a call that, you got a big chunk split off of it. Yeah, I'll
hit you back up.
I'll hook you back up and get you going again.
How was your duck season this year? I know we're kind of getting all over the place here, but
no problem. Squirrel.
Yeah, that's exactly how my brain works too. Yeah. Exactly how it works.
It was a rough season for us up there. At other guys, they just had the spots to go. A lot of local ducks just all season. All of a sudden, it just really thinned out. That and having a new dog with his first season, I was more focused on him
100%.
And also focused on trying to get my nephew his first duck and getting him set up and into it. And
did you get it done?
Yeah.
Did he shoot? He shot his first duck.
He shot his first duck. Awesome. He got just a stud redhead drake. And
nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Get it mounted?
Yeah.
He didn't get it mounted. I'm doing got an old piece of barnwood I'm going to mount the wing on.
Oh, that's cool.
So that's cool, yeah.
That's cool.
So.
That's awesome. That's the next generation right there. That might be the next generation of Nate's calls too.
Yeah.
Could take over the company.
Yeah. Or, I got my son doing May.
Yeah.
Get him turning on a lathe.
That'd be cool too. That'd be really cool to have that, like your son taking over like the company. And
yeah.
Is it going to be Nate too? Nate Jr.?
No, we're kind of going back and forth between Waylon or Emmett. So
I like that. That's cool.
So, who's going to out-stubborn who?
I got a feeling that she might. Maybe. She might win with whatever
she's over here like giving you the eye.
Yeah, I got a feeling. Now turkey season, so you only got the duck call right now. Do you make the turkey call?
No. Nope.
Pot call or anything? No, not yet. Maybe like in the future, maybe.
Yet. In the future, I plan on getting into that. And,
okay.
Try and do some predator calls too. I'm thinking.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
100%. That would be really. I mean, crow call, owl call, grunt call. I mean, there's so many different variables. Do you do grunt call or no?
Nope.
Yeah, so there's a ton of stuff that to get into, and
a lot of things I can expand on, and
100%.
So
100%. The hardest part I feel like with wood calls is like having the one call, and let's say, it's whatever name, like with the GK call, it's the element, right? Yeah. So to have that element call, he's got his CNC machine, but having it laid to have that same call, but it's that one call, and then you can't have another call. Like say, so
it's a different program.
He's got like the Element and the Cowgirl, I think it is.
Yeah.
So, but both of those calls, you either have this call or that call. But the lathe, I feel like is so hard because it's, you got to be so precise with the, laying them out or whatever.
That's really awesome what you do, though. It's more custom,
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Sure.
Everyone's a little bit unique in its own. And what I like about the wood is just every call is going to have a different grain structure to it, a little bit different color.
Right.
And there's so many cool woods to choose from. Like I just ordered some, it's called pink ivory. So
is it pink?
Yeah, it's pink.
Is it really?
That's cool.
Yeah. So it's cool looking. So I'm excited to work with that. And I just ordered more olive wood, which I love the olive wood. It smells like olives when you're turning it.
Really?
That's cool.
It literally smells like you just stuck your nose in a thing of olives and
that's pretty
took a big
sweet.
sniff. I mean, it's crazy.
That's pretty sweet.
And according to a buddy of mine, olive wood tastes like olive oil. Don't know why he was tasting wood, but
I don't even want to go there because
wonder...
I could say some crazy stuff right now, but I don't want to go there. Tasting wood. All right, let's leave it at that one.
So, do you do wood duck calls too, or?
I messed with them a little bit, just trying to perfect that.
Yeah.
So.
That's the best way to go about it because I know a lot of people. I shouldn't say I know a lot of people, but a lot of people would jump the gun, get one thing down, get it to where you want it to, and then kind of expand off of that. Like don't get all too crazy and have a bunch of stuff out there that you don't know what's going on.
Yeah, it seems like you're really precise in that, and they sound good. I know that for sure.
Thank you.
So,
I'm just trying to get kind of as I go, just progress slowly, and just try to keep duck calls where they are, keep progressing on them, and then I'll move into other things.
Yeah.
So. Something special about a hand turn.
Oh yeah.
Duck call. It's almost like the tradition, I guess, of it all behind it all. Like a lot of people are going to the acrylic and stuff, and they're getting away from like the.
I think there's going to be a new demand for wood calls.
I'm sure
everything is going back to the retro, like the camo.
Everything old is new again.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah,
100%.
I think you're going to see an abundance of wood calls here soon.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. 100% agree. Everything's just a big circle. Yeah, honestly. Like some of my favorite camo is the old school, like mossy oak, bottom lane camo, like just the old school stuff.
Like Browning brought back some of the old school camo stuff.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I enjoy. Do you do a lot of turkey hunting up there?
I took a break for a while. I'm getting a little bit more back into it.
Okay.
So it's just this year might take a hit on how much turkey hunting I do.
Just because of the baby.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's gonna be tough at first, obviously, but down the road, obviously, it's gonna be awesome for you. What's some goals, I guess, for the company like that you have? You have like the goals for how big or small, or like what would you like to see, I guess, in the future?
Well, I'd like to see myself as my own boss completely.
That'd be nice.
Not punching a time clock would be nice.
Right, 100%. 100%.
See where it goes there. Get out of the cab of a truck and just
turning calls.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Has anybody? I'm just looking like behind you there with like the antlers wise. Has anybody ever made calls out of that?
Yeah.
Out of antlers?
Yeah, I ended up giving one to my buddy.
Really?
Started hunting with me kind of mid-season. So it's using the gut search style, and it's Coco Bolo, and the mouthpiece of that barrel is antler.
Really?
Then the insert end is antler.
That's got to smell horrible when you're turning that.
Yeah, and it's a pain.
I'm sure it is.
Oh, yeah. It's...
Oh, man. I've cut some antlers off of some deer before, and it smells like crap. It smells horrible.
Do you think that's something you'd want to get into, or it's just...
Yeah, I mean, doing the... just setting it apart, something unique, just once a while make something kind of crazy. And
yeah.
That would be... I don't know. It'd obviously be expensive because the price of antlers are stupid. Like it's insane. You're looking at like a little tiny piece for $30 or whatever they are.
I need to teach my dog to find sheds.
My black lab has done it before. He's just a crackhead when he runs out in the woods and just goes crazy. Like he's got to kind of slow down a little bit. My black lab, she's always been that slow pace. She's got to drive, but she's
a little more reserved.
Yeah, she's kind of nonchalant, walks around or whatever it may be. She actually found, let me see, I think they're on the bottom. The last year's 2 big ones. She found those 2 last year. Yeah, that one and those 2 actually. I mean, they're 20 yards apart, but she walked up on the one. So she knows, but whether she's gonna pick them up and bring them is another story. She's a little stubborn in her old age now.
Yeah, I think this spring I'm gonna get up out by Gaylord. Go look for some elk sheds.
That'd be cool.
Oh, that's sweet.
So I have one my dad found riding horseback up there. And,
really?
We used to, get like within 20 yards of elk on horseback.
That's pretty good.
Really?
It takes till you're that close for them to realize, hey, something ain't right, and that's just not another animal.
Yeah.
No kidding.
So, yeah, I got that hanging up in the garage. And
that's cool.
So
Tanner went up there. I don't know if you met Brad and Tanner, haven't you, or no?
I don't know.
They're from Ohio. They went up north last year. I don't know exactly where. I'm assuming that area. Went turkey hunting, and they're walking down this 2-track, and like, man, that looks kind of weird. It was a 4x whatever it was on the other side, but just a shed that was buried in the sand. That they thought it just looked like a stick sticking out of the ground.
Yeah,
but that's walked really right next to it. Yeah.
Well, the problem is when you're looking for them, everything looks like a shed.
Oh, yeah, man, I went out yesterday for a while, and then I went out, I think last week I went out for a while, and I was walking yesterday, and I'm like getting real low through some like a thicket, and just in between the snow, there might be like a little fragmite like leaf or whatever you want to call it, or like a little stick with no bark on it that looks identical to it. Yep. And you walk up, pick it up, it's like, are you kidding me right now? Your heart starts racing a little bit. It's
the same thing when it's just starting to get light enough in the woods to see, and you think you're seeing a raccoon sitting out there. Then
just a stump,
a little bit lighter, and some sticks.
Yeah, it's horrible. I mean, do you deer hunt a lot or no?
I used to a lot.
Okay.
But kind of. My passion is getting into waterfowl.
Okay.
I mean, just getting out in the marsh and, freezing my tail off with my dog I'll take that.
It sounds funny, though, because it's like, why would you want to do that? Yeah. But, obviously, it's...
We're all a little crazy to do it.
Yeah. I remember when I first got into it, my dad... I was the first one in the family, and I mentioned this before on the podcast, where I got back. It was during the rut, and I went out there in the Saginaw Bay, and my dad, was looking at me like I was dumb for going out there in the water, and why are you going out there freezing your butt off? And then here he is, we don't even, we deer hunt a little bit.
It's not even a question. Ray's out there.
Yeah. Every weekend my dad's out there now, which it's pretty cool to get the family involved, obviously, and stuff like that. But
the best day of waterfowling I ever had was when the wind picked up and it started sleeting and pelting me right in the face.
Oh, 100%.
And I was the happiest waterfowling I've ever been that moment.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It was just that little couple minute window, just sleet in your face, and all of a sudden the skies just turn black with ducks.
Yeah.
That is the best.
It's pretty bizarre because when I first started, it was like, man, these things are so stupid to kill. They're sitting around school parking lots or whatever, walking around. How hard can it really be? But then, once you get out there and you get the decoys all set up and whatnot,
it's funny how they'll see that one decoy line just barely sticking out of the water, and they'll flare off that. You go and fix it, and all of a sudden there's birds piling in.
Yeah.
How are they seeing that?
I don't know. We were just talking to, maybe it was the same guy, about the DU, how the silhouettes over time and the A-frames out in the middle of the field, or the layout lines out in the middle of the fields and water too. Everything over time it starts to seem like the birds are catching up to it. And he was saying that he'll bring out 6 widgeon or something like that, or a dozen widgeon and 6 mallards, and everybody else has 2 dozen mallard decoys. He said
different.
He'll burn them up before anybody else. Yeah. So that might be a thing, but yeah, the decoy line and stuff. There's so many different variables that could happen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And last season, I've been usually keep one classic style mojo, then have one of the floater spinning wing mojos, and all of a sudden it just stops working. And I get a tip from a guy I meet out at a boat launch in Morrow Lake. He goes, use a taller mojo pole. So now my mojo's 8 foot off the water, and it's the tallest mojo of anybody else out there.
Seeing it better.
They're liking that better. So
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that goes.
I try and change it up a little bit every year.
Yeah.
Even throughout the season.
Kyle will change it up every day.
I'll change it up every hour. Yeah, I'm bad with it, man. I'm a decoy nerd. Not nerd, but I guess nerd, but just I get weird with decoys, especially out in the fields. And
I'm not using any. I've seen a lot of guys using. You'll use a J hook or use like an X pattern or use a V pattern. How they set their decoys. I just throw them at random. I've never seen a group of ducks being a pattern on the water. I've always seen them being kind of a random group moving around.
Yep.
I think. I mean, that's like my spread with the geese out in the field and stuff like that. More of a natural, unless the wind's blowing real hard, I'll have like the for sure pocket.
Yeah.
But having no wind at all, it's kind of, you got little pockets here and there, but you don't have to have like a giant, J. Like I can't stand when people just run like a J, and it literally looks like just a J, like one skinny line, and then it wraps around. It's I don't know. I mean,
if you're gonna do a pattern, kind of have them staggered in that line so they kind of move.
Break it up, right?
Like a horseshoe shape works, depending on your wind.
The only thing with the horseshoe, from my experience anyway, it's if you have it too tight, they land way out there.
Yep.
So
I have them, if I got a pocket and I'm doing a horseshoe, wind's to my back, and I got that pocket of, that space, open space between the reeds in front of me, I'm lining the reeds up with them in that horseshoe shape versus kind of just out there and nothing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's so many different, I don't know, variables that go into it all. Yeah.
I think the most natural way is the best way.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I always talk about it too with, there's a lot of people that run the 2 mojos and 3 dozen mallards out there. And that's pretty much everybody's spread.
Everyone.
So why not just throw all goose floaters out there?
Yep.
Or for the Detroit River here, why not throw 2 swan decoys out there? It looks stupid going out there. People are going to judge you for it, but
you see ducks with
natural.
swans.
Yeah, 100%. It looks natural.
Use what works. Even if it looks funny, it works.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm big into that. The natural of it all.
Yeah.
I'll run goose decoys 100 yards out into the field.
Yeah.
Like not straight out, but like off to the right or left, whatever it may be, and it's just like they're not going to come to that. I know that, and that's why it's out there. Or people like really bunch up all the decoys. Well, guess what? You're probably right behind those decoys, so they're staring almost like right at you coming in.
Yeah.
Like they're going to see you the entire way up, like into the hole.
That, and the group's all right-handers. Why not shift the decoys offset a little bit, just because the way you're naturally going to pull up,
right,
and your natural swing.
I never really even thought about that, to be honest with you.
Just try and set yourself up for success. Make it a little easier.
Yeah, no, I never really even thought about hands, like what shoulder you shoot off of.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I mean, I mean, obviously the wind, it depends on like the wind or whatever it may be, but that's
a really good point though.
Yeah, that's not bad at all. Not bad.
That, and I've been trying to just, instead of bringing everything, I mean, I always kind of overpack with what I need. But I also have been trying to get into packing as light as I can. Like I've mostly for the past 5 years, I've been using a kayak mostly. Try and do something where it's lightweight, simplistic. You can get in, you can get out quick. Use natural cover as much as you can. You got really thick reed grass and somewhere solid you can stand. I'd rather set my chair up in there,
100%, 100%.
Try and set up a blind.
I got a question.
What's up?
But I'm going to use the restroom before that.
Yeah.
So
go ahead.
We'll be
You read my mind.
right back. Okay, so you got to go too. So we'll be right back. All right, and we're back. So the next question I had for you. There's a lot of people that listen in that are the public land hunters. And you said you hunt a lot of public, correct?
Yep.
What is your like go-to in like pack out? Like now are you walking into a lot of spots or are you boating into a lot of spots?
Kayaking or boating to a lot of spots, but there's other spots, I get into where it's shallow. I just walk with everything on the kayak and dog follows me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now what are you packing in on like the walk-ins or even on the boat? How big of a boat is it?
Little 14-foot V-hull.
Okay, so what are you packing in on that? Because I feel like a lot of people don't know, what's too much or too little or what.
Yeah, what's your setup?
It really depends on the day and kind of how many people are going with me.
Mm-hmm.
Like when it was me, my buddy, and my nephew, we'd have 3 kayaks and each carry like 1 to 2 dozen decoys. A lot of my setups are just 3 dozen decoys, kind of a mixed bag of what I'm bringing. Widgeons, some bufflehead, some redhead decoys.
You guys get a lot of divers up there? You said, yeah, Houghton Lake, you said
Yep.
you get a ton up there.
Even Marl Lake. That's where I shot
Really?
my first ringneck was Marl Lake.
Hmm.
So, and comfy chair, of course.
What, because a lot of people just use those like marsh seats or whatever it is
Yeah.
that like have no comfort to them at all. Like just literally a stick with a 2x4 basically tied to it.
Yeah.
What chair do you use?
I just use a regular, just cheap camping chair that I don't care what happens to it as long as it's
Okay.
Oh, really?
comfortable. I try and get one of the kind of ones that stay a little stiffer. You sit up a little more on them.
Yeah.
Okay, I got
So
you.
just a cheap camping chair, or some spots I'm sitting on just a natural ledge behind some reed grass to where I can easily stand up and if I need to. And
I feel like that's the best way to do it because I feel like a lot of people hide in the boat and it's so hard to actually hide in your boat. If you're going to bring
It
a
really
boat out
is.
there, wrap it around the island or down the shore.
Ditch the boat.
Yeah.
oh yeah, we either go down a little bit and like one spot on Reedsburg I was hunting, we had the boat like probably 50 yards down from us and we drug it up into the brush.
Yeah, I feel like the way to go.
I think so too. Yeah. You like buffleheads, I know that.
Oh yeah, you put them, bread them, pan fry them, put them on a chicken and a biscuit cracker with some cheese.
That's my favorite cracker too.
Quackers.
Yeah.
That's my
Call them
favorite one.
quackers. So
Hey, he was telling me about that earlier. I was like, oh, that sounds pretty damn good.
Have you ever hunted out here?
nope.
Hmm.
No, we were talking about that earlier. I need to get out here.
Yeah,
It's
100%.
good. It's good.
Especially for the buffies, man. There's buffies
Oh,
everywhere.
yeah.
I mean, if you drive down the road right now, I bet you see thousands of them.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Well, when we first got here, I'm like, well, there goes 2 ducks.
Oh, they're
There's 2 more.
everywhere. Yeah, they're all over the place, man. I don't know how open the river is right now.
Starting to open up.
Is it?
Yeah.
I don't know because I mean, you guys probably got a ton of ice up there right now still.
Yep.
Do you ice fish at all?
A little bit here and there. I haven't gone past a couple of years.
Okay.
I need to get out there, but yeah, I mean, Lake St. Helena, I can get out there and ice fish. Houghton Lake, I can get out there and ice fish.
Right.
So
We need to get back out there too. I haven't
Yeah.
gone in a while, but yeah, I don't know how thick that ice was out there on the river because for a little bit it was pretty much locked up completely.
Yeah.
And the ducks were so conjugated in one area, man. You should have. It's a black cloud. It
Yeah.
literally looks like gnats out there.
Yeah.
It's insane.
one thing I will say, I always bring in my blind bag. I put it in a Ziploc bag, keep it waterproof. TP and some wipes, some wet wipes.
Yeah.
100%.
100%.
Dude wipes. Yep.
Because when you're get to the bottom of your thermos of coffee and it hits,
Yeah,
Yep.
and you're a long
it's
way
hard.
from your truck.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. Funny story with that. We were hunting last year in a field, and my black lab likes to take the ducks and hide them in a ditch or hide them wherever. Like that's her bird, and she's taking it. So she went out. We didn't see her. She hid the duck in a ditch line, and our buddy Jimmy went out trying to find this duck that Ellie hid. Have you heard of this story?
No.
So my buddy that morning took a dump out on that ditch line. Also, Jimmy's out there walking down the ditch line trying to find his bird and steps right in the dump.
Oh.
My buddy took that morning. And he's walking around. He's like, man, it smells like shit. Like, what the hell's going on out here? Like, what am I smelling?
Yeah.
While he's walking around with that, with my buddy's shit on his bottom of his foot. We found the duck, but yeah, Jimmy also found the shit.
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
And it's Jimmy.
Yeah.
That's the funny part about
Yeah.
Jimmy. He'll be at the dinner. I'm excited for that dinner this weekend.
Yeah, that'll be good.
I got a funny one for you about my dog. So I don't know why he does it, but he will stop mid-swim and just start pooping.
Really?
They'll just be floating there behind him.
I don't know if I've ever seen a dog eating crap in the woods or in the water.
He does not care.
Just shits wherever.
I guess you got to go when you got to go.
Yeah.
That's impressive. I'm not even mad. That's impressive.
Yeah, that
the
is.
same thing, P. He just lets you loose.
Wow.
Doesn't care.
Not even mad. I'm just impressed at that point. Do you train them like yourself, or like what? Do you watch any videos on training? Or anything?
I got the Gun Dog Basics videos.
Okay.
That's what I've
Is it
been
a 4-part
using.
series or something?
That's 3-disc series, I think.
Yeah. Okay. I know what
Yeah.
you're talking about.
So I got the set, and I've been just trying to use that, and
I had those. It just wasn't for me in the beginning. And like I said, it was just for me, like the stick that they were using for, I think the heel or I think it was the heel, just wasn't for me with that aspect of it all. And I kind of slowly like drifted off with it. But I've also heard good things, obviously, about that video. It's so hard because, I mean, every dog's got its own like personality and stuff. And
that and just what level they're at to be ready.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. For sure. I mean, you
my
got to
dog,
know.
he's got that crackhead energy, so his attention span lacks.
Right.
But when you can get him to focus in, he learns quick.
He's in, right. And I think that's a big thing, too, where a lot of dog trainers and owners don't realize, like, you don't have to train all day long. Just give them some time and leave them with interest.
Yeah.
You know.
And trying to leave it off on a good note.
Right.
You know, it doesn't all have to be super serious. Like, dog's having fun, he's going to be more wanting to do it.
Right. 100%.
Like Goose, he's smart, but he doesn't always use the smarts.
Mm-hmm.
Like first full day we had him home, sit and the recall, he had it down.
Really?
You know, he'll follow me anywhere.
That's impressive.
So that, and we had the water bowl put up on a tote, just kind of out of reach, because he liked to put his feet in it and tip it all over and get it all over.
So 100% he's a water dog.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he grabs, big old stuffed animal out of the bin where we had all the dog toys, climbs in there, gets that out, climbs out of the bin with the dog toys, then uses that as a step up and gets himself up on the tote to get it. It's like,
how did you even know that?
yeah, I wouldn't have believed it if my wife didn't send me the video of it. I mean,
so he's
Smart
calling
dog.
you a liar, basically, is what he's saying. Like he would have thought you were a liar. That's nuts. They're smarter than most. I'll give it to them. They're smarter than most of the people that have them.
Yeah.
They're
lying
insane.
on that one. Yeah.
They're insane. Well, you got any more questions?
I think that's about it. I appreciate everything you do. You give back a lot. More than I think you give yourself credit for.
I try and do something. I mean,
it's good for obviously the give back, but then obviously good for the company too.
Yeah.
It goes a long way, and a lot of people see that
100%.
and appreciate that for sure. Because not a lot of people do. A lot of people are stingy about everything, and kind of get swept underneath the rug. That the good guy always doesn't get the light, unfortunately, and it's nice to kind of see and push you and tell people about it all.
Yeah.
So it's nice. Thank you. Though, anything?
No, that's about it. I really appreciate you coming down. That's a long drive, and
hey, no problem. Happy
sweet to have you here.
Do you have any questions or anything?
No.
Do you have any questions? All right. Well, I appreciate both of you guys spending the time and jumping on this podcast. Maybe even during Pointe Mouillee again or something, and stay in touch and get you on another one or something.
Yeah, we got to get the word out on the festival more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're working on that.
100%.
Waiting on the flyers right now.
Yeah, the flyers. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in the talks, which is good. Reaching out to people and I don't know, everything should be up and up and up.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Be a lot different this year. A lot different.
It's nice to see growth every year, I guess, is the thing. If we just stay stagnant, we're kind of not doing the right thing, obviously. Yeah. But if there's growth, then it might be maybe one or two vendors. I'm happy with it. With everybody else coming back, obviously, I guess if we had one or two more vendors every year, over time, it'll just keep on getting better and better. But the hard part is, and thank you for staying around, is the people that are there in the lowest times that are like, well, why am I wasting my time? Yeah, it's people that stick around and give back and see the opportunity that's there, which is nice about it all.
100%.
So, again, thank you, Chris. Yep. Thank you guys for driving all the way down. Hopefully you guys are hungry now, so we can go grab some food.
Yeah.
Hopefully. But, yeah, Nate's Game Calls, Facebook only.
Facebook only right now.
Instagram soon, possibly?
Possibly.
Okay. Well, get a hold of Nate for some duck calls and more calls in the future, I'm assuming.
Yep.
Don't want to just throw that out there without...
They're cool calls, guys. Check out his Facebook. They're really nice custom calls, really.
We'll post some for the post too when we pop it up there on Facebook, and then I got some things to run by, maybe some ideas or something. But I appreciate everybody tuning in. You guys don't got anything else?
You have a website, right? Or no?
Not right now.
No. Okay, just order through Facebook.
That and my email, natesgamecalls@gmail.com.
Okay.
You reach me there with any questions. So
awesome.
I got actually got hoping to have some done for the festival. Working on a design for a modified Mojo pole. So what's the worst thing about setting up a Mojo? The wind changes.
That is true.
Then when you go out there to change it, ducks fly over.
That is true too. Well, that would be
I'm working on a little something for that. So.
Yeah, no, that would be interesting for sure.
We'll have to see how it works out. And
I never even thought about that. That's true. To be able to go out there and take care of that, that's awesome. But I appreciate everybody tuning in. And I guess until the next one, we got some Predator guys coming on talking about coyotes and our Michigan coyote season. A couple more bigger names coming on that we'll get into at a further date. But again, appreciate everybody tuning in this week. Chris, I appreciate you jumping on.
Yep, thank you.
And we'll see you guys on the next one. Nate, thank you again too.
Hey, thanks for having me.
We'll see you guys.